Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Herb. This is my first video. This channel is going to be mostly stories about games, some top 10, top 5 lists, gaming memories, mostly my own personal experiences with games. And I thought what better way to start my first video than with my first thoughts on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. The game came out exactly a week ago as I'm filming this, and I've actually just passed the 10-hour mark. Well, what does that mean? How far am I? What have I experienced? How am I enjoying it? Is it what I expected? That's what I'm here to talk about. So how far am I? So I think the demo is just chapter 1, maybe not all of chapter 1, but it's most of chapter 1. And I actually just finished chapter 2 of the game. So in this video, I'm going to talk about a few things in chapter 2 that might be spoilers for you if you want to experience it all on your own for the first time like I did. And I guess that's the first thing I'll talk about is that I did not play the demo. I wanted the whole game to be like a brand new one-time experience. Just experience all at one time. And I didn't want to play the demo, I'd finish it, and then wait around for a couple weeks for the game to be released. I guess for a few reasons, but the main one being was that I just recently got a PlayStation 5 and I was trying to finish Final Fantasy 16. Because I knew when Rebirth came out, like I was going to be playing that full time. And I didn't want to leave Final Fantasy 16 unfinished. I was really hoping for a midnight release in the area because there was a GameStop that did that for Tears of the Kingdom, and that was really cool. So it was pretty disappointing to see that they weren't going to do a midnight release for such a huge game. And for me, that midnight release for Tears of the Kingdom, that was a really memorable thing to experience. Gave me a little bit of extra hype for the game. Yeah, the big thing was that I wanted to have that brand new game experience where, I could play it and, just go on and I didn't have to stop. I could just go right into chapter 2 or whatever's going to happen after the demo. So what do I think of the game? I think the game is really packed full of content. The first chapter was obviously just a prologue. It was like very demo-ish with a brief introduction to the game, the basics of the game, the story. And I thought it really had a cool hook of how, like, Sephiroth, if you don't know who Sephiroth is and you're only playing the game for the first time, like, you see Sephiroth as this kind of heroic guy, and then he turns into who he is now. It was really cool to play as Sephiroth because he's, like, super fast and powerful. And I guess if I just played the demo, I would have just assumed that the game was going to be the same as Final Fantasy VII Remake because nothing seemed to be added. Obviously, the graphics are way better. Their environments are a little different, but I would have just assumed it was more of the same. But once we get in, released into Calm, the city, that's when things really open up. And I think it's in that first part of the city where you were introduced to Queen's Blood, which was a huge surprise for me. And I really didn't get into the other card games in the old, like Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy IX, but to see that they were adding that game, Queen's Blood, into this game, like, I thought that was a really cool, like, throwback, kind of a way to please the fans of the older games in a way. And the thing about this game is, like, I don't think I'm very good at it. It actually reminds me of this game called Splendor. If you've ever played it, it's like just like a tabletop game. And it's like a coin and gem collecting game. And me and my wife play it, and she beats me every single time. Like, there's this thing about, like, collecting things and planning ahead that I just don't understand. But it seems to be a part of this Queen's Blood game. But I beat everyone in the game so far that I've had to play for, like, quests and stuff, but I might just be getting lucky. Anyways, the city has a lot to do, a lot of people to talk to. It's really just generally big, and I'm looking forward to visiting other towns in the future. So a little bit later, we end up, you have to evacuate the city, and we enter the open world. Now, I know it was shown in one of the trailers that, when you open these doors and the bright sun and, you see the open world, and so it's there, but I wasn't sure how it's going to be. And from the little gameplay that I did watch before the game was released, because I tried to stay away from it, I saw there was like some terrain actions, like jumping down from ledges, climbing a couple things. Although I didn't know that you could climb, like there was walls to climb actually. I just know you jump up ledges. So what do I think of that? There's a little bit of jankiness to it. So that's taking some getting used to. But also the world seemed a little bit empty. Like it seemed like it was just the same enemies over and over. It wasn't very exciting. Nothing seemed to be very different. None of the, there was like some abandoned places that you couldn't really interact with. So I was going along. Eventually you get to the Chocobo farm. And I think it's when you run into Chadley for the first time. I think that's where it happens. And here's where the content like really blew up. There was just so many research tasks to do. Like there's a lot. They're just all over the map. So that was really impressive to me. Are they worth doing though? All these little side quests? To me, they are. They are. Like, I'm motivated to do them. In Final Fantasy 16, I did the side quests for like the first 10 or 20 hours of the game, but there are things like delivering food to people. I'm sure there's better ones, but I just remember that one thinking it was so pointless. So eventually I was just over it. I know that some of them add like some good lore to the game, but I just generally could have gone without it. But for this game, yes, like I will be completing each region 100%. I guess it's a little bit checklisty. Like there's not like an organic sense of discovery to most of the world because everything's just marked on the map and you just go one by one and you can go to it and you can even like fast travel from point to point to complete it. But overall, I like it. And there's even like this mini boss at the end of one of the quests, and I thought that was really cool. So I was really impressed with the content that they've packed into the game and some of the new things that they've introduced, except for one thing. And like I've really been trying to stay away from discussions online, like to stay away from spoilers. And I don't know the overall sentiment of what people are thinking, but I'm feeling like that everybody's going to agree. And I'll just say it and move on. The Moogles. The Moogles. I do have one big struggle in the game though, and it's not necessarily the game's fault. It's probably just my fault. It's the combat. Now, I love the remake. I loved it. It's one of those first games that like immediately after finishing it, like I wanted to play through it again. And I enjoyed it that much. And the combat in general is the same, except for like the synergy abilities and the synergy skills, which I'm just not used to them yet. I didn't play Intergrade, and I think that's where they were introduced. So I don't fully understand the point of them, like whether they're better attacks. I'm not even fully sure on how to activate them. Like I know there was a tutorial explanation thing, but I got to read up on them a little bit. So there's that, but the big thing right now that's tripping me up is I literally beat Final Fantasy 16 2 days before starting this game. And so when I'm in battle, I keep trying to press R1 to dodge enemy attacks, and all it's doing is blocking, right? The controls are totally different. I think Final Fantasy 16 had easier combat, and you could defeat enemies like really easily without being damaged if you're good enough at the combat. So I think that's way different in this game. So like that combined with the new controls, I think it's holding me back a little bit. It's just a different strategy that I think I have to take. Like in Remake, I didn't do very much blocking or dodging, but I think I'm gonna have to start doing that in this game. So that'll be an adjustment. So another thing is that you have 5 party members, and I've kind of been sticking with the same 3. In Remake, they selected your party members for you. Like they'd swap them out depending on the situation. And I think I kind of preferred that. Like I feel like I'm missing out if I'm not using the other party members just out of my own personal preference. So they kind of forced you into that in the game before. There's also a lot of new materia, which are kind of crazy, and these new folio techniques. There's a lot to get a handle on. So like, is this overwhelming for you? Does it get easier? Let me know. It's not making the game unenjoyable for me at all. I think it's just slowing me down a little bit and making me like a little paranoid that I'm going to like miss out on something, or like I'm not fully experiencing the game. Anyways, those are some of my first thoughts on the game, 10 hours in. I'm wondering right now, like how long is it gonna take me to beat this game? Because like I'm taking it slow, I'm going to 100% everything, and I don't really get that much time to play. A couple hours here and there, so it's gonna be a while. But anyways, what do you think of the game? Like, are you enjoying it? What do you think of some of the mechanics, the new gameplay features? Is it a good open world? Is it a bad open world? Or even if it's good or bad, like, are you enjoying it more than anything? I think that's the most important thing. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in my next video.